This is totally a sound like it. I'm hella mad. Rest in peace. Takeoff. And I feel like, yeah, Quavo has something to do with it. I hate to say because how come he was always so distant from him all night? If you at a function, it's no way I'm gonna be distant from my peoples. It's no way. I'm gonna be right there with my peoples, unless there's something going down. He stayed separated from him. He was the one arguing, so he still was left behind with Takeoff's body. I mean, why not finish the job in Quavo too? He's the one who was arguing. Like, okay, so he wasn't the one who needed to. It was Takeoff. That's who they were after the whole time. And like I said, Quavo was a distraction. Quavo, when he stayed over Takeoff, he still could have got finished off. And it wasn't about Quavo. It was about him setting up Takeoff. That's why he stayed distant from him. That's why he wasn't even on his side when he was farther up, gone, left him. So I hate his speech he did at the funeral. I don't like him. He's going to sit there and say all that, and you been with me. But you wasn't with me you wasn't right there on my side. You with me. So what is you talking about? So that was from an upper call from their manager because Takeoff was leaving. We know that. And Quavo wanted all the action, but ain't nobody.
It's sad to say, but everybody from Quavo Hood saying that Quavo should have real life got sent up too if it was that type of situation. So in all actual reality, we can all really put our finger on one thing from what the eyewitness said. The eyewitness said that Takeoff was distanced from Quavo the whole night. In this type of case, you're supposed to have at least 4 security guards with you. But a lot of people point a finger at DJ Pat. They saying like DJ Pat was the main one. So I want y'all to look at one thing. They said Lil Cam did not blow at him. They said Lil Cam did not even discharge nothing. So this is what everybody is saying, y'all. So I want y'all to know one thing. Everybody know that Takeoff was the star of the whole Migos. Everybody know that Quavo, he was the voice of the Migos. If y'all think that Takeoff was set up by his own people from what they saying in ATL, I want y'all to throw them 999s in the comment section.
Fifth Ward MobTies having something to do with Takeoff's untimely demise. Now, word is no one affiliated to J. Prince Jr. and his brother Jazz MobTies, they not able to perform at ATL at this point. The only person y'all already know is Drake. Y'all already know that Drake, he's able to perform anywhere he goes. But Finesse 2 Times, he don't get that same love. You understand? But we all know it's all due to Takeoff being shot up in H-Town at Jazz Prince's private party event, and how the loss of Takeoff did not only shake the rap game, but the city of Atlanta as a whole. Because most folks from the ATL, they knew the Migos. They followed them. They grew with them since the first time they stepped into the rap industry. So with that, most folks, they knew Takeoff to be a cool, laid-back cat who minded his own business by staying in his own lane, which made people gravitate to Takeoff even more. So when Takeoff was pronounced deleted, the people wanted to know when, where, and who did it. Going back, the reason why I did this video, because J. Prince Jr. artist Finesse 2 Times thought he had a red carpet treatment to perform in the ATL. At first he did. When Finesse 2 Times got out the feds, J. Prince Jr. had folks doing shows all over Houston, his hometown Memphis, and the ATL, especially when he linked up with a few cats from Atlanta to do music, including your boy Big Wop himself, aka Gucci Mane. But now J. Prince Jr. MobTies affiliates having their hands tied up in what happened with Takeoff, and Duke is putting a bad light on Finesse 2 Times because the association he has with the MobTies. Now, I informed y'all about 2 weeks ago that it would come to this when J. Prince Jr. had posted he was gonna be making moves in the ATL because he knew his artist Finesse 2 Times had a couple shows out there. And again, this was just 2 weeks ago, but now it's coming back around, and Finesse 2 Times, he was guaranteed some shows out there in Atlanta. But now, because what happened with Takeoff, ain't nobody trying to mess with that, man. Nobody from Atlanta is trying to make it seem like they tied in with the MobTies, and that's real talk. Before we get into it, as always, let's first pay our respects and say rest in peace to Takeoff, condolences to his family, and much love to all my folks in the ATL. Quavo, Offset, Lingo, y'all stay up out there, my guys. Same thing goes for Chicago's own Duke the Jeweler. Rest in peace to Duke the Jeweler, condolences to his family, and much love to all my folks in Chicago. I see the comments, and a lot of people saying, why you keep linking up what happened with Duke to what happened with Takeoff? Because again, they was both surrounded by the MobTies affiliates. You understand? And at the same time, they were both invited out to these functions. That's the reason why I gotta let you guys know, hey man, it's something deeper that's going down with the MobTies. Because again, for these two guys to get set up the way they did, it shouldn't have happened like that. And that's real talk, man. So let's get back to the story. Like I told y'all, man, everybody wanted to know when Takeoff got set up, when, where, and who did it. Alright? So the when, where, and who is the reason why it's hard for Finesse 2 Times to perform in ATL. And how J. Prince Jr. thought calling his pops was going to resolve the issue of his artist Finesse 2 Times not being able to perform in ATL. Now let me break it down for those unaware of what's going on. So by me breaking down the when, where, and the who, you guys can understand my viewpoints. The when is the date, which was the night of October the 31st. I know a lot of people, even though reporters say a lot of situations was going down around October the 31st, man. Even including what happened with Shanquella Robinson, man. When she took that trip out to Mexico with her friends. Come on, man. That was around Halloween. But yeah, let's get back to J. Prince Jr. MobTies having something to do with Takeoff untimely demise. The where is in Houston at a billiards bowling spot in the 5th Ward. Now, the dice game popped off around 12 a.m. and the shooting occurred around 2:30 a.m. Y'all have to understand that Takeoff was not the only person hit. There were two others. One was in critical condition and the other one did not make it. So y'all best believe that they families is pressing the issue on J. Prince and his son's MobTies affiliates, which goes into the who, all planned by J. Prince Jr. for his brother Jazz private B-Day, but J. Prince Jr. chose who was invited and he picked the location. So now the question is, who upped the blicky to send up Takeoff and the others at the private party? Now we know that 3 people up blickies. At first they say it was all on Migo bands. Then when folks see the footage, they spot Lil Cam 5th next to Takeoff up in the blicky. So people automatically thought it was Lil Cam 5th till Lil Cam 5th got turned in. Once Lil Cam 5th was turned in, Patrick Clark, better known as DJ Pat, was stated to be the actual shooter. Now you have a lot of people speaking on that and saying DJ Pat, he may have taken that bag in order to take the rap for this whole case. Now with all that dealing with the when, where, and the who, the main question now is why? Why were these guys so adamant to up the blicky at a private event? And why did Takeoff, out of all people, is the one to get hit with the blicky? When Takeoff was the one that was telling people, hey man, we came here for a good time. We ain't come here to start no beef with nobody or to get in no type of nonsense that we can't come back from. And right now, dealing with what happened, it's hard for Quavo, J. Prince Jr. and his brother Jazz to come back for what happened with Takeoff. And the people know that it was Takeoff informing Quavo that it was time to leave. But again, it didn't matter what Takeoff said. If Quavo and J. Prince Jr. are having a heated discussion that spills overboard to someone even wanting to up a blicky, now that's the problem, man. Now Lil Cam 5th, he feels he upped the blicky to protect J. Prince Jr. because that was his job duty. Same thing went for Migo Benz. He feel like he was protecting Quavo and Takeoff. That's the whole reason why he upped the blicky. But DJ Pat, people trying to understand why was he itching to shoot anyone? Now the reason folks feel it's deeper than what we think it is with the MobTies, especially if you include what happened with Chicago Jeweler Duke, with what happened with Takeoff, then y'all gonna understand the conclusion that people was coming to when it's pertaining to the MobTies affiliates and saying, hey man, you got 2 highly successful, very intelligent, influential businessmen in their respective fields getting set up by their own people. Now that's a problem, man. That's a problem that us as a people, we got to handle that, man. And that's real talk. Because these guys, they were told to check in for hospitality, security, and the support team. They got the opposite. So when these guys don't return back home to their families, who y'all think they gonna question? Yeah, they going right to J. Prince and his son's MobTies affiliates. And that's the whole reason why J. Prince, he's been doing everything in his power to try to push another narrative and say, no, it's not my sons. It may be the guys that hang around them, but it's not them. Because again, like I told you guys before, if anybody put this on J. Prince's sons, it's automatically gonna go on him. That's the whole reason why he was hiding Lil Cam 5th. And at the same time, once they turned in Lil Cam 5th, they already knew who they gave the bag to make it seem like he had something to do with Takeoff being shot up. Now I'm talking about DJ Pat. Yeah, folks right. That's the reason why, not just coming up in the rap game, but in the world as a whole, you gotta watch who you associate yourself with. I don't care if you've been knowing somebody for 10 or 20 years. If they get into some BS and you always known to hang around that dude, then trust me, you're gonna automatically be guilty by association. But let's flip it. If you hang around somebody that's known to be organized and calculated with their moves, and that's how people gonna view you as well. But again, this ties back to You gotta watch who you associate yourself with. Like folks said, what Finesse 2 Times is experiencing at this moment is because the MobTies actions, not Finesse 2 Times himself. Trust me, Finesse 2 Times, he not trying to go back to the feds. All because of J. Prince Jr.'s shenanigans. Like folks stated, Finesse 2 Times had a plan and he stuck to it. Even made headlines on social media when he apologized to Moneybagg Yo for their past fallout. Because Finesse 2 Times acknowledged the fact that he wasn't mature or had the right state of mind to understand the game that Moneybagg Yo was trying to give him pertaining to the rap industry. Now in my opinion, I think Finesse 2 Times should go back to mostly hanging around Moneybagg Yo and distant himself from the MobTies in this current time in order to get back to doing shows in the ATL. Because the only way them folks from the ATL is somewhat gonna forgive the MobTies if J. Prince Jr. get locked up for what happened with Takeoff and Duke the Jeweler.
Again, y'all just have to follow what's going on.
Even dealing with that, J. Prince Jr. and his MobTies, they didn't already dug themselves too deep, man. Cause again, everything that went on at that event that led to Takeoff untimely demise is what a lot of people in Atlanta is discussing. Because they thought that J. Prince had taught his sons better than that. But at the same time, we know this is not the pop's fault. But again, he's still trying to control the narrative based around what happened with Takeoff and Duke the Jeweler. So until they families get justice, the people want answers pertaining to what happened, man. Why you got guys around you that's itching to up the blicky? And with that, folks is speaking on the fact that, hey man, with all the money y'all got, y'all should be hiring professional security and not your homeboys from the hood. Because again, we seeing the results. And trust and believe, if you had somebody professional there, it wouldn't have went that route. Then got guys from both sides, they got blickies. So instead of them trying to use every defense mechanism not to up the blicky, that's the first thing they going for.
MobTies and J. Prince Sr. included Fifth Ward. And again, they opened their arms for Takeoff and Quavo once upon a time. Who's to say that that's going to happen every time you come down now? You never know what inside or previous beefs that they had going on. People be into it and people don't know about it. So this goes to show.
You know, it was the piece. And I guess, you know, some of the paperwork, they said that something along the lines that he had stole a car in California. But, you know, there hasn't been too much information about that other than the fact that we know that he was picked up with no bond. And, you know, he basically, the charge right now is gun possession, and because he has a felon. And that was the night that Takeoff was sent up, and they have it all on footage. Everybody knows exactly what happened. They can see that he was out there, and he broke the, you know, the probation initially being out that late.
J. Prince Jr., he stepped on a lot of people before Lil' Cam Real Life got booked. Y'all got to pay attention to what's going on, because from what the DA saying, the DA Real Life, they put their finger on the main person who caused the situation. And I always tell y'all, when a person caused the situation, this is really going to affect everybody in the crowd, because you know how when something pop up, you have to really pay attention to it, because they son Duke up. Mm-hmm. Takeoff got hit up by one of J. Prince Jr. MobTies affiliates.
Right.
People know this, and people sit back looking like, hold on, I don't trust them like that, because they realize they treacherous.
Right. I mean, and you know, they were down there for a couple of weeks working on their project, trying to get it out there. So everybody knew they were out there. So who's to say?
Lil' Cam broke off house arrest just to go there, because how did he get caught with the piece?
Right. I mean, to me, the crazy part is that Lil' Cam is 16, and so like all the stuff that goes back to 2018, his like Hayden tweets, he was like young. I mean, he's young now. So 2018, you know, he was a bit younger, and who's to say he went out that night to break it and just do what he wanted to do, and that's it.
He wanted to real life. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, man. From what his cousin saying, man, they set that man up because he knew for a fact that they was gonna corner him off, and then Migo Bands made a mistake and hit him up.
Right.
They said his own crew hit him up. They said Lil' Cam was the only one that instantly ran up behind him, tried to snatch the chain, and end up popping him at the same time.
Right. Now, if they're able to recover the piece,
they already did ballistics though.
Right. But will they be able to tie it to other stuff? Because a lot of times that's what happens.
If they had the same blick.
Right.
For a long time, right. They had a blick for a long time. They've been in a whole bunch of drills, and they've been out there like real live, like going in on people. Like you see what happened with Duke, and from what they saying that the move that Lil Cam got caught with, it was tied to Duke the Jeweler.
I mean,
it's crazy, man. Yeah. Breaking news, y'all, man. I want y'all to really pay attention to what's going on because Duke the Jeweler, man, R.I.P. to Duke the Jeweler, man, because they realized set that and thought that it was sweet, man. It's justice for these boys, man. At the end of the day, I know for a fact that people sitting right here looking like, why would they even run up on Duke like that, though? They ran up on Duke because they wanted the jewelry bag. Yeah. But the reason why they ran up on Takeoff is because Lil Cam wanted to real life take that chain, man. He wanted that Migos pendant.
Right. And the thing is everybody be checking in exactly where they go, too. So along the way, even if you thought that they were going to be there, you can even confirm because people actually put themselves in that place while they're there.
Checking in for goofies. Yeah. At the end of the day, because you can get sent up just by checking in. Them people you don't know, man. You only know the people you checking into. You don't know the people who they got in the background as their security. Right. Who thirsty. Right. They ain't got no money.
Right. You go live on location, you just don't know who's watching you.
Real live, and they said that in Lil Cam car, where they found one of the diamonds off Takeoff chain, man. And y'all gotta really pay attention to that, man, because if you find a diamond in the car, the diamond worth, it was a baguette. So you gotta really look at it. The baguette's worth more than the regular diamonds. The diamonds is gonna determine where it came from. So if they got all of it did by a certain jeweler, you real life gotta pay attention to it because it'll track back. Right. Everything you gotta track it to it. Right. And from what they saying is they pinged all the towers, and you gotta really look at the fact that when Lil Cam ran off and he came out of the bowling alley when J. Prince Jr. was jumped over Takeoff, you real life gotta pay attention to the fact that they pinged his iPhone, man. All the way from there to the, you feel me? Yeah. To the car.
Yeah, I mean, technology is crazy. It can tell exactly where you are. It can see who's next to you, who's around you.
That's why Lil Cam, he's mad right now because they got that man. They asked this man, do you want to be in PC or not? He said he want to be in population.
I mean, it is what it is,
And we know for a fact that you really can't be in population if you know you got the Migos people behind you. This is Migos connection. And what they saying about the Rico indictment is sad because too many people going down for it. 14 people they realize got in that 62-page indictment, man.
I mean, they're going to find there's more people connected. And who's to say Lil Cam... Who's to say he's going to end up ratting on himself in there? Or what's going to be said? You know what I mean?
Yeah, Lil Cam was the main one who they said that he was the one who real life pulled the same move that he got caught with, the piece. Like, the same piece, man. He only had 2 more shells still in there, man. It was over with from that point. They already knew what happened. They said, why was your clip in? You feel me? Why was it only 2 left up in there?
Right. I mean, and they may end up even tying it with something else. There's a lot of times there's stuff that's cold, and they're looking for pieces that go together, and it's just a matter of time through everything's run through the system, and then they start connecting the dots. It happens so often.
Yeah, but I sit back and look at it like, why would they even put themselves in this predicament?
Right.
And a lot of people don't think before they do certain things, but when it all boils down to it, you will sit there and look at it like, hold on. it was too many people there. Mike Prince, he didn't want to tell on Migo Band. But Migo Bands already knew for a fact that once they come question him, he was telling on Lil' Cam because that's the person who he was staring at.
Right, right.
That's the only person who really had the blicky.
I mean, they're gonna know because they know what ultimately sent Takeoff up, you know. And when they match it together or whatever they're able to find, they're gonna be able to figure everything out.
Yeah, that's why I sit back and I look at it. I be like, you know what? They better be cautious about the people that they keep around them because anybody could hear a conversation and be like, you know what? I'm finna go report this to the feds because they son Takeoff up. Even if they in MobTies.
I mean, that's the thing. What is everyone or what's your